What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Tiny Tim and I am back. So I've been taking some time. Trying to strategically plan out how I wanted to approach things going forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I am going to, as you can tell by the title, touch on Secret Invasion. Now, I wasn't going to, and there are a couple projects that I did skip over. Marvel don't miss. Marvel does not miss, but I'm going to get right into it. I'm not going to make this a long, drawn-out thing. We're going to try to keep this short, sweet, simple, and to the point. Let's get right into it. Here we go. So let's start off. The episode opens up with a monologue or a monologue by an agent, a voice I've never seen before, but a face that I've seen before. Agent Ross from the Black Panther series. Films. Well, what confused me initially was the fact that Ross hasn't been involved in much outside of Wakanda, outside of things relating to Wakanda. So it kind of took me, I had to step back and look at it because I'm like, well, what's he doing where he is? Let me watch and see what's going on. Turns out that wasn't the deal. That wasn't Ross. That was someone impersonating Ross. So I was right to assume that, that wasn't him. And, with good reason, it felt wrong. But this person doing the montage was also an agent explaining to his superior, which is Ross, whose superior, which is Fury, that we need to act now. It's happening. They're invading. This is happening. All these terrorist attacks from different factions across the globe, attacking different things and bombing this and blowing up that and stealing this and stealing that. And I really was intrigued because it opened up feeling like an actual spy movie, a spy show. And it really did have those type of stakes, that feel of, oh man, this is some espionage type shit about to take place based on what he was saying as Ross was sneaking into his apartment and Ross's behavior. It just felt weird to me. It felt off. And there were a couple things that I had to really reach back for because they mentioned that Fury was on Saber out in the thing. Now, I didn't remember half of that because it was so long ago. Since Fury got snapped away, him and Agent Hill came back, the whole, everything dealing with Captain Marvel, everything dealing with extraterrestrials outside of our solar system, everything dealing with everything not on the ground happened so long ago. Now, one of the end credit scenes, and I cannot remember which film it is, but it shows Fury on the beach. This particular beach was mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For Tahiti, I think. But I thought it was that. It was at the end of a film. I thought it was that. But Fury folded up his stuff, he took off his glasses, whatever he was doing, got up and walked away from the beach. Walked out and he's on a space station looking at Earth, or looking at screens that are looking at Earth. That's the last time we've heard, to my memory. I want to say it was Captain Marvel, but it's the last time we've heard anything from him. Now, a lot has taken place since then. A lot has taken place since we saw him on that space station. So much so that I forgot that it was called Saber, that's where Fury was, that Fury was technically still alive after the snap, even though he did come back for Tony's funeral, which was 5 years after, everything. Him getting dusted and coming back, and the paging of Carol Danvers and everything that's happened. The WandaVision incident in Jersey, multiverse, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. A lot has happened since we've seen Fury. So for him to come back, or for him to be said that he's on Saber, off planet, working on protecting us outside of our planet, I'm like, okay, write that down in my notes because I don't remember that. I'm going to have to look at that again because I don't remember any of that, but it was so long ago. But I think the timing and the spacing of it all works for how I feel this story is about to go, because Fury's been gone. Fury's been gone off planet. And using that phrase off planet makes me think of, I can't remember what, when, or who said it. I want to say it was Agent Coulson, but I don't think so. Somebody actually used that phrase that he was off planet. Fury was off planet. So I'm like, what? And even then it didn't make sense. The Saber comment didn't make sense. And then I remembered the whole, I'm off planet working on this, and this, and got to find a new home for the Skrulls and keep our universe safe and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, because Marvel don't miss. Marvel don't miss. Fury's on Saber. And he's been there for quite some time. Now, let me preface by saying, I don't know much beyond my light research, much about the Skrulls, other than what they've told us so far in the MCU, as well as what I've tried to piece together in my little piece of light research. Because I don't like being spoiled, so I don't want to read too much into something, because there are infinite universes and I don't know which way the MCU is going to piece together the story they're trying to tell us. So I didn't want to be spoiled and be like, oh yeah, well they're going to do this, or you're going to do that. So I didn't know that while the Skrulls, which are a majority of peaceful people, were trying to find somewhere to live and have taken their jobs and places amongst people on Earth until they find that rightful home, because their planet was destroyed and they had to leave and shit was weird there. It's really eye-opening to see that this is what has been happening since the events of Captain Marvel. Shit. 30, 40 years. That's 30, 40 years, ladies and gentlemen. That's 30, 40 years the Skrulls have been on Earth. Yeah. On Earth, trying to find, 30 years our time, on Earth, trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do and make a life for themselves. It's definitely been, it's been a fucking time. I did have questions when Fury finally came down from Saber and they let him off the spaceship and he's, limping through the field. And I'm like, yo, is this even the real Fury at this point? Because now, as a viewer, who's who? What the fuck is going? Like, I don't, you don't know. Because we did deal with what's they called? The MDKs? No, the MDM, the DMDs, EMDs. Them are the robots with Ava and all them from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they infiltrated all of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was definitely a break-off faction of Hydra was working on and infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. But the Skrulls are more intelligent and they're able to do, the longer they're in the human skin and can occupy the human mind of the subject that they're, that the host that they've occupied, but they are that person and Skrulls amongst each other and amongst the human race. It's harder for them to determine who's who. With all this strategic planning, they sitting at the table, they talking about your species, talking about, it's so strange to me. I was trying not to nitpick certain things because I wanted to just enjoy it for face value, what the show was, what the episode was. But me, stuff with Marvel, I get you gotta put things together, try to look for Easter eggs when there are none, possibly are none. But a lot of stuff Talos said about your species and this, while they're sitting there strategizing. And it just felt like to me that after all of that was said and done and Fury just stands up and storms out. And I'm like, you got to take a walk all of a sudden. And they even said it, somebody your size, your build, you can't just be walking around the streets of Moscow or wherever they at and a big black man walking down the streets and it just don't work well. It doesn't go over well and somebody's going to take notice. But being the master spy, being the master agent that he is, it seemed all too convenient that he got snatched up. He knew somebody was watching him. He knew somebody was going to follow him. He knew he was going to get taken, and he knew by who. And he knew that he had to have that conversation. He had to get some eyes all up in that room of hers, you know. So the leader of whatever she do made sure he was in her region, got taken by her and her people, just so he could have a conversation with her and reveal some things. Once he put his little camera or whatever on the owl's eye, we get a scene of a random dude walking up to a fence. Now, to my knowledge, I did not know that Daenerys Targaryen was in this show. I saw a clip of her on the red carpet for the premiere, but I did not know she was in this show. So, I say that to say, when I see her walking up on the gate, okay, I'm like, oh, buddy, is this where the Skrulls that haven't found a place to be found their place to be? They got military guard, they got guns, she like take your true form and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, shit's cool. And the more we get into their little compound, I'm looking like, hold up, yo. Something don't look quite right. It look a little off. Because I see the kids playing, I see this, I see that, but then they get deeper into the thing, and she like, freedom is beyond the door, whatever she said. And I'm like, hold up, man. This when we realize that Dany Targaryen is a fucking bad guy. And I'm like, or bad guy adjacent. She working with the fucking rebellion. Now, I'm going to keep calling her Dany Targaryen until I can remember her real name. But as of right now, she's playing a Skrull rebel working with Gecko, which that's not his name, but I forgot it. And I really feel like it's a G and a C and a K in there somewhere and a couple vowels. I don't remember what it is, but and it just I wanted to know who she was. I don't remember who she is. I don't know who she is, if she's a person. Now later on in the episode we see that they're chasing people, which I wanted to pick some stuff apart, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna let it be great. And I wanted to pick some stuff apart about how fast it was for Talos to finish up what he was doing, catch up to Agent Hill in the sewer, and still catch up to Gaia, who is Dany Targaryen. Her character is Gaia. Gaia is Talos' daughter from way back fucking when. So at this point, yes, you can cast anyone. And yeah, she lost her way and ended up with these people. Now, I can't wait till they further evolve the story in which Talos' wife dies, because you got to remember, again, it's been 30 years plus since the events of Captain Marvel, where we saw Talos' wife and his children, or his child. She was a little baby girl, Skrull, at the time. Now we see her all grown up, damn near the right hand or the third hand to the rebel leader, and we see this interaction with them in the sewer, and I'm like, one, it was too easy for them to catch up. Two, it just seemed very... For her to not know that her mom died, that means she's not been with them for a while. She hasn't seen her parents. She didn't know that mom died. Talos broke the news to us, the viewer, and to her, that the people that she's working with aided in the death of her mother and all this other stuff. So things like that, I hope they, touch upon a little more, because I want that backstory. I want the last couple years of time to explain the backstory a little more between Gaia, because I ain't seen her since, if I'm not mistaken, it was the girl in the films that had the little pink dress on. I'm gonna have to go back and check, but I think it was her. I think that was her. But now she a rebel right hand, and I'm not a fan of that. But it don't surprise me. My thing that does surprise me, though, my thing that surprises me the most, is how can Skrull recognize each other so easily? Talos has been doing the Talos role. He's been using that particular skin and voice and brain and all that stuff 4 years. That's the only way we know him to be, right? But when we finally get to see him rumble, he was fighting. First of all, Talos got hands, and he told was a Hill or Fury. He told one of them to back off. It's my fight. And I'm like, all right, he got his little squabbles with him or whatever. He got hands or whatever. And then he got tuned up a little teeny bit and got shot. The dude got shot that he was fighting. And, you know, I was happy about that. But when they was rumbling, like, how did he know that that was him? How did he know that that was Talos? Like, I smell you. But that's one thing to realize you're a Skrull, but to realize which Skrull you are, it just, I just have questions about that. Same thing about the initial part of the episode when the dude playing Ross, you know, he said something to the guy. The guy immediately was like, yo, you're not the guy. You're not Ross. Because he was like, yo, I'm going to get this info. Yo, give me the information. I'm going to take this up, see what we found, get that, make sure Fury get that, and he's going to come back down here. He's got to be credible intel, this. And I'm like, no. How do you know? How did you automatically turn around just to start running at this dude? I thought it was Ross at that point because I'm like, oh, shit, Ross got hands too. You know, until he goes splat on the fucking alleyway. And then I'm like, all right, well, it's not Ross. But how did that person know that wasn't Ross? How did the other person know that that was Talos or Skrull? You know what I mean? So they, another scene where they sitting there, you know, strategizing on what needs to happen and what's going to happen if they don't make what they need to happen. And, you know, they're doing a little history lesson. And it says something about back in the day, something for spooks like me, to this. Now, what I know the term to be, when I say, when I hear people in a show like this with espionage and spies and double agents, triple agents, and agents in general, when I see and hear stuff like the term spooks being used, I think of things like the original term for G-men. I guess it's not the original term, but you know what I mean, like agents, dark agents, the suit and tie, glasses only, speaking in today, you know. That's what I think, spooks, right? And Agent Hill chimes in and says, yo, I don't think you can use spook, that term like that. You can't use that term like that. And Fury looks at her and goes, I can, you can't. And I really felt like that was a play on the N-word. Besides the fact that, yes, there are some racist people out there who call African Americans spooks because of their skin tone or whatever. And while that is not acceptable, Fury made it also clear that that term is not to be used by anybody but somebody who can use it, i.e. the N-word, used by black people. So I thought that was funny, but at the same time very educational to touch on something like that, because while me being a viewer understand that there's different interpretations of the word, especially in a spy and espionage type of thing, I understand what he was also saying and how they slid that in there over there at Disney and Marvel to say, you can't say it, I can say it, you can't say it, let me say it on screen, because that would have came off weird. I'd have been doing a whole nother video if Agent Hill says that line, you know what I mean? And that's what they definitely tiptoed around, but did it in a way that was comedic, well delivered, and not a bad take on the spies and the racism and stuff that part of the country, you can't say that type of stuff. And I get that, and I feel it, and I follow it. Thank you, Disney. Thank you, Marvel, for being so genuine. The final climax of the episode, and this is where I'm having a problem with the episode, but at the same time, I'm very intrigued. Enjoying the episode, intrigued. And we go to stop the bomb. We know the plan is this, because Dany Targaryen told Pops this is the situation. It's going to be 3 carriers, including myself, with thermal marked bags, and that's what's going to happen. The thing is, we never saw the third bomb. We never saw the other carriers. We saw her carrying 2 packs, and that's it. 1, 2. That's all she was carrying. She handed them off. They split off. They followed these people. Fury got distracted by the same little girl with the ball that he seen while walking in the street. He thought that was a little weird, mainly because she was staring at him. And he commences to following this little girl with the ball, who technically, it felt kind of like the girl in the red dress in Schindler's List, where the whole film is black and white, but red dress right here. You know what I mean? Focus on me. Or like red dress from The Matrix. Everybody's in their black and whites and black and white, green and whites and green and whites and blacks and green and whites and blacks. And you see this beautiful woman walking down with the red dress on. And that's the way that little girl stuck out to me. Not in a beautiful woman kind of way, you know, but in a way that, hey, look at me. And it also caught Fury's eye because this little girl was out of place. And I'm sitting there like, hold up, yo, why is that the same little girl? So does that mean the little girl was a Skrull for the first time when he got kidnapped? Or, you know, but they used it again. And this time Fury, he caught it. Like, something's wrong with this little girl. Is she trying to tell me something? Is she trying to show me something? So he commences to following this little girl, following the White Rabbit down this rabbit hole. And they played this ill shell game where every time they stared him down, walk behind something, face change, stared him down again, walk behind something, face change. And he's boom, 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 boom. Finally we get, and what's his name? Granick, whatever his name is, the lead rebel, he turned around and he's one of the guys, if not the main one. Gets to Fury, and no talking, no me explaining my plan and this. And nah, ain't no villain monologue where I give you a chance to stop me. This motherfucker turns around, looks at Fury, boop, boosh, shoo, blows everything the fuck up. Pandemonium everywhere. I do feel like in this spy, with all this pandemonium shit, all this spy shit, how the fuck did they know that Fury was going to be there on that mission and not the other agents, not just the other agents? There is somebody who is a double-double. They a double-double agent. Got to be. Because when they sat down at the table, when he went to go talk to the boy at the bar, talk to the main guy, he said, my people over there say that this. Somebody asked him, how you know that? I got my people. And these are the Skrull rebels saying, I know people that said that Fury is back on Earth and something going, so he's involved. And I'm like, how the fuck did they know that? And how the fuck do they know he's gonna be there? Unless somebody's a double-double, which leads me to point fingers back at Gaia. But if that were the case, why would she tell them the actual plan? The Unity Day bombing, 3 bags or 3 carriers. She would have 2 bags and she's one of the carriers. She hands it off to 2 separate carriers. They try to stop these 2 bombs. And I thought for sure she said it's going to be 3 carriers. I'm one of them. I assumed that would be 3 bombs. She only had 2 bags. But how would they have known that Fury and Hill were going to be there? Somebody else is a double-double. Because they got the information that they got from putting the little camera, the thermal infrared, whatever the fuck camera, the hologram camera on the chick's owl. They got a lot of that information from that. So how the fuck did they know they was going to be at the festival? Hopefully they expound upon that, because that's a little, I don't know, that's a little fishy. Smell funny. I don't know. Smell funny. I don't like that. I don't like that because it make me think too much. And I got to wait till next week to get an episode, you know. But what we don't have to wait until next week to see is Agent Hill being shot and killed dead. Now, I don't believe that she dead, but I wrote in my notes, is Agent Hill dead for real this time? Question mark? I don't believe that she dead. But on the off chance that they waited 20 years, she was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 2.5 seconds. She was the assistant director behind Fury for a while. She helped recruit the Avengers. She was manning the space stations and the helicarriers, and Agent Hill is a bad motherfucker, right? To get shot by Granite, whatever the fuck his name is, in the stomach amongst all of this chaos. Is she actually dead? She gotta be, because they panned out and she didn't turn into a Skrull. So she's actually dead, but what does that mean? Is it possible for someone to possibly try to take her place who don't know that she died? It's just so many things that I do not understand with this particular episode, but I love it. I love where the potential is going. It's a nice little, here, hold this while we get this other stuff ready for you, because the MCU I think is booming right now. A lot of people have had some discrepancies. I'm thinking that I'm entertained. I'm fully entertained. I enjoyed the Guardians. I enjoyed the Guardians holiday special. I enjoyed this. I'm enjoying everything Marvel right now because of how they're storytelling, the casting and everything. But will this be the last time we see Agent Hill ever again? It's quite possible. But is this going to be the last time I talk about it? Nah. I ain't done talking about it. So, join me next week. We find out, is Agent Hill dead? Is somebody going to replace Agent Hill? And how the fuck did they know that they was going to be there? What's Gaia going to do? So many questions. I hope we get some of these questions answered. But until next time, follow me on all socials at Tiny Tim Gaming 3 here on YouTube and over on Facebook at Tiny Tim Gaming. Look for the logo. If you don't see the logo, that's not me. Turn on your bell for notifications so you know when I post, because I'm going to be posting a little bit sooner. I wanted to post this episode from Tiny in the car, but, I had some issues this week. But we're going to work through them issues together while we talk about Secret Invasion on Disney+. Until next time, it's your boy Tiny. Out! Peace.